Who have you got working with you there?
That's Peter Young, and he actually coached me in real property. So when I passed and I could be admitted, I asked him and he said certainly he'd love to. So he did. And then Peter Young went on to become the Chief Justice in the Equity Court later. Yeah.
So he was an important early figure for you?
He was very supportive.
Helen's Greek father, Mick Adams, opened Australia's first milk bar in the early 1930s in Martin Place, Sydney.
Well, I always wanted to study law, and then when it was time to go to university, my mother said, no, it's not fitting for a girl to go to university. All you have to do, get married and have children. She was very old-fashioned, very traditional. So I then did kindergarten training because I was allowed to do that, because that was a nice female sort of a thing to do. So I did that, and then I got married straight after, and then we started having a family. And before I had one child, and I decided, look, I really still want to go to university, and I want to do law. So I studied by correspondence, and I got there.
How did you end up overcoming your mother's opposition to the fact that you were, I suppose you had your heart set on becoming a lawyer?
Yeah, well, I just had to, with my husband's support, because my mother actually tried to sabotage me by saying to my father, tell Jim that not to let Helen go to uni. She should be at home minding the children. It's wrong.
Helen Gerondis read with Ken Pawley and G. Barry Hall, and soon after was given her first brief in a trial known as the Murder for Kicks or Thrill Kill Gang Murder. Helen acted for the first accused's girlfriend.
She was living with McCafferty, and she was actually pregnant to him, and she was on trial because she was part of the gang, they said, and that she was involved in planning. But she didn't plan anything. She was just living with him. She just happened to be a bystander.
She won, and all the other accused were convicted, and Helen appeared on the front page of the papers. Mother of 6 wins murder trial, with a picture of her and the 6 children. I mean, you can't go much better than that, can you? Win your murder trial on your first case, and she did.
Before going to the bar, Jenny Blackman had been a shorthand typist, first for solicitors and then barristers.
I then was asked to work for someone I had worked for before, namely Mr Justice Ray Else Mitchell, and I went to work for him as his associate. Whilst I was working for the judge, I completed my bar exams, and I was so relieved. I thought, I'll never do another exam, but I then got admitted on the 31st of May, and the judge said that he was happy for me to go on working for him because of the skills that I had and the fact that we all got on well. And so I stayed there. Having passed all the exams, I then had time to look at what was going on, and I saw some people appearing in front of the judge, and I thought to myself, I think I can do as well as that, and in some cases I thought I could do better.
A senior counsel, A.B. Kerrigan, warned Jenny that the bar was no place for a woman, but nevertheless organised for her to do some research for him.
To begin with, I'd take anything, particularly if it had a brief fee on the back of it. But I didn't want to do divorce work, and when the new law came in, I just said, first of all, I was saying I'll only take divorce work for solicitors who brief me in other matters. And then eventually I said, I don't know anything about the new law, I can't take any work in the family court. And that's how I got out of divorce work altogether. But I was doing local government work, I was doing Crown land work, doing equity, resumption matters and things of that nature. And that specialisation came reasonably early in my practice through having been an associate to the judge in the Land and Valuation Court.
You would have been one of the very few, if not the only woman barrister specialising in those areas at that time?
Yes, I was.
Was it ever an issue for you at any stage that you might have someone who would not brief you because you were a woman?
Oh yes, there were people who wouldn't brief me because of a woman. In fact, I got admitted to the bar in Western Australia, thinking that I might get work over there, and I had someone who rang me and asked whether had seen the name J. Blackman as being someone who was admitted in Western Australia, and was speaking to me and said, I was wanting Mr. Blackman. I said, oh no, this is Miss Blackman.
In 1974, a room was purchased in Frederick Jordan Chambers, which was made available on a subsidised rent for a year to a woman beginning practice at the bar. The letting of the room was Jenny Blackman's responsibility, along with two other trustees, Janet Coombs and Priscilla Fleming. Jenny, in due course, was recognised for her services to women in the law with an Order of Australia.